Chapter 37. Hal's daddy was down in the clay pit loading a dump truck when we got back to the trailer. Hal gave me new blue jeans and a plaid shirt instead of the bandy t-shirt I've been wearing. Hospital's fancy, he said. They'll throw you out in a second if you ain't fixed up. Neither of us said much as we drove to Tuscaloosa. I was excited about finally seeing Kit again, but I could tell that Hal was worried about getting caught. He dropped me off at the entrance of the hospital and pointed to the parking lot where he would wait. Don't stay there too long. People start asking you questions. Get the heck out of there. I nodded. I ain't staying around if cops start pouring in here, Hal added. I don't want you to. Good, 'cause I ain't. I saw a woman at the front desk talking on the phone. As I get closer to her, I recognized her voice and knew she was the person who asked for my name and number earlier. I avoided the woman and followed some people down a hallway until I saw a man with a mop and bucket. You know where I can find Kit's slip? He asked. I asked him. He looked at me blankly. The boy they found in the forest? I watched his eyes grow wide. Oh, him, he said. He's up in the fourth floor, room 432. How do I get up there? The man pointed to the elevator and I thanked him. I crowded into the box with some people and stood there for what must have been 15 minutes as it went up and down, and the doors opened and closed. Finally, a woman asked me where I was going, and I told her room 432. When the elevator stopped again, she told me to get out and walk past the nurse's station to the hall on my left. The nurses all watched me as I passed them. One of them asked me if I needed help, and I shook my head and kept walking down the hall. I stood outside room 432. I heard a television. I only had to knock once before I heard Kit's voice tell me to come in. He was sitting up in bed, and his eyes grew wide with surprise when he saw me. Moon, how did you get here? It felt so good to see my friend that my scalp tingled and my hand shook. Hal dropped me off. I've been living with him. Kit looked confused. I walked over to his bed and stared at a clear tube that went into his arm. How did you find Hal? He asked. He came looking for me. I was sleeping up in a tree by the road waiting for you to come back. I couldn't. What's that hooked up to you? Medicine. Hurt? No. I'm feeling a lot better today. You about ready for me to bust you out of here? Kit didn't say anything for a few minutes. I don't know if I can leave yet. You said you feel better. I do, but I can't walk. I'm too weak. The emptiness seemed to rush back into me. I want to leave, he said. I hate it here. I climbed up in Kit's bed. I lay next to him and stared at the television. What are you going to do, Moon? I shrugged. I fought back the knot rising in my throat. Why are you so quiet about? He asked me. I felt that if I tried to say anything, I'd cry. I thought you were going to Alaska, Moon. I'm not going. Didn't you hear anything I said when you were sick? Kit shook his head. I don't remember anything after you covered me up with those blankets. I got lonely out there. I wanted you to come back. I said I wasn't going anywhere without you. Kit didn't say anything. I thought we'd be like brothers. We'd live out there together. I felt the tears start rolling down my face. You were my best friend, Kit. I've never had a best friend except for Pap. Kit rolled over and stared at the side of my face. You're my best friend, too. I don't want you to be sad. I don't want to be out there by myself anymore. It's not right out there. What are you going to do? I shrugged. Pinson makes me feel bad. Being out in the forest by myself makes me feel bad. Hal says he's going to Helenweller after a while. I don't have anywhere. I've never had so much fun in my whole life as when I was in the forest. I wiped my eyes. You really liked it out there? I'd give anything to go back. I wish I knew how to make the kind of medicine you need. Me too, he said. You can make just about anything else. I nodded and wiped my eyes again. I haven't cried but about 3 times in my whole life. It doesn't matter. Yeah, well, you better not stay long, Kit said. How come? Sanders has been coming around here. I sat up and looked at Kit. He do anything to you? No, he's plenty mad, though. He wanted to know how to get to where we lived. I said I don't remember, but he didn't believe me. He'd probably kill me if he could. He says we shot at him and ate his dogs. I told the TV people that we didn't do any of it, but they don't believe me. They kept asking me if you told me to lie about it all. Well, I'm not scared of any of them. Sanders is making stuff up to get me in trouble. I know. I lay back down, and we didn't say anything for a while. Hal's out there waiting for me, I finally said. I wish you didn't have to go. I'm just going back to Hal's trailer. I haven't made any plans yet. They're going to send me back to Pinson, when I get out of here. I didn't reply. I climbed out of the bed. Maybe you could come see me there sometime, Kit said to my back. I walked to the door and turned around. I don't feel too good about all this, Kit. I'm feeling lonely. If it weren't for Hal, I think I'd be as crazy as Sanders by now. I want to be out there with you as soon as they let me. Hal says the law leaves you alone once you turn 18. That means we've got less than 8 years. Until I come live with you? I smile. That's right. I'll have a place already fixed up somewhere. Trailer pulled off in the forest with leaves over it, no roads. Kit nodded eagerly. I walked back to the bed and leaned over him. We'll still kill our own food. We'll grow a garden and trade our vegetables for your medicine. And eat all the things that grow wild in spring. That's right, and make some more deerskin hats. 8 more years. But I'll see you before then. I don't know how, but I will. Maybe I'll climb up in the trees outside of Pinson and wave at you sometime. We can talk through the fence at night. I'll call you on the telephone and let you know. Kid held out his hand and grabbed it. We shook on the deal like I saw some boys do in Pinson. I imagined the two of us, 18 years old and living in our trailer just like we'd been there a week already. I felt all right when I walked out of the room, but as soon as I faced down the hall and saw the nurse's station with all the nurses staring at me, I felt sick again. I wanted to curl up on the floor until the pain and loneliness went away. I started to go back into Kit's room, but I only turned and looked at the door. I knew it wouldn't do any good. Suddenly, 8 years seemed an impossible time to wait in the forest alone. Once again, I thought of Hal, telling him that he was going to Helen Weller eventually and that we weren't safe at his daddy's place for long. My future in the hall in front of me were a long, dark tunnel. I couldn't imagine that things could get worse. I walked down the hall and up the nurse's station. As soon as I turned the corner of the elevator, I felt an arm go around my neck and force me into a headlock. I stared at black shoes and black trousers. I didn't know that I've ever picked up sand or scent, but the forearm flesh pressed into my nose brought back memories of him squeezing me against his chest on the side of the road. He squeezed tighter and tighter until I drooled on the floor. You think that hurts? I'm just getting started with you, boy. Chapter 38. Sanders put handcuffs on my wrists and ankles and hog-tied me. He thanked the woman at the reception desk for calling him and picked me up. He carried me down the stairwell like an upside-down possum and took each step hard so that my wrists and ankles jerked painfully. What's the matter, boy? Looks like you lost the fight you had in you. You can't do anything to me that matters. I don't have anywhere to go anymore. We'll see about that. I'm not scared of you. Well, there's a lot of things you're about to learn, and scared's one of them. People were already gathered outside and taking pictures of me when Sanders carried me out of the hospital doors. Before we got to his car, he stopped and answered the reporters while I hung there. Yes, ma'am, this is him. Did he give you any trouble? He's a wild boy, ma'am, as you can see, he said, jostling me around. We've got techniques for his kind of trouble. Where will he go now? He'll be in the Livingston jail waiting to see the judge. Sanders opened the back door of his police car and tossed me in. I landed face down and turned my head so that my cheek pressed the seat. I could still hear the crowd following and see the flashes of cameras. As we pulled away, Sanders got out his Copenhagen and put a pinch in his mouth. You know where we're heading, boy? Jail? There too, but we got business to take care of first. Where's that third boy at? I didn't respond. That's all right. We can get to him later. Right now, you're going to show me where my pistol is. You lied about me shooting at you. You said I ate your dogs. I wouldn't eat anybody's dog. I'm not showing you anything. Sanders spit in his cup. You ain't showing me anything, huh? He said calmly. That's right. Well, we'll see. We'll just have to see about this. About that. I felt myself getting car sick, so I took a deep breath and let it out slowly. You can't do anything to me I care about. Maybe not, but I've been thinking. That sickly little friend of yours probably tell me what I need to know if I spent more time with him. Felt my face growing hot. You better not touch him. You know he'll be getting out of the hospital before too long. He'll need a police escort back to Pinson, seeing as how he's been in so much trouble. It'd be a shame if I had to give him that ride myself and work some answers out of him. He don't look to me like he'd hold out too long. You lied about us, I yelled. Sanders chuckled and spit in his cup again. Boy, you think you can get around me? You think I'm just going to go away? I don't care what you do to me. Just leave Kid alone. Well then, let's start again. Where's that pistol? Breathing deeply through my nose seemed to help the car sickness. As I lay on the back seat, I took deep breaths and thought about my situation. I realized that I would have to get Sanders out into the forest and get him lost and trap him. Then I'd have to go back Kid out of the hospital and take him somewhere safe. Maybe to Hell's, where we could all be together. again. My mind raced with ideas of where I would tell Sanders the pistol was. I'd have to know the place to pull off my plan. I finally reasoned that there was nowhere I was more familiar with than the forest I was raised in. It's in my old shelter, I lied. Sanders was silent for a moment. How'd it get all the way back there? I got a ride with somebody? When was the last time you were there? I know someone tore it up, if that's what you want to find out. Yeah, I got those surveys to take me out there to your rabbit hole. I didn't see no pistol either, just a bunch of junk. I had the pistol with me, then I left it there. For that sickly kid's sake, you better hope you ain't lying.